Well, good evening. I'd like to call to order the Westmont Village Board meeting, and if we could ask the clerk for a quick roll call, please.
Sure. Mayor Nero.
Here.
Clerk Simsky. Here. Trustee Barker.
Here.
Trustee Guzzo.
Here.
Trustee Little.
Here.
Trustee Pirelli.
Here.
Trustee Plowman.
Here.
Trustee Scales.
Here.
Attorney Zemanek.
Here.
Village Manager Gunther.
Here.
Assistant Village Manager Parker.
Here. All right. If everybody could join me in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty, open forum. I don't believe we have a request for open forum, so we'll get right into reports, and first is mine. Coming up again are the luge tryouts. So if everybody remembers, we have the Olympic luge folks coming into town. They used to take Cass Avenue, the big hill from 55th down, and I've done it before. It's a lot of fun. They're planning to return on August 17th to search for the next U.S. Luge Olympians. So maybe Trustee Scales wants to try it this time and get a new part-time job. Planning is underway and confirmation is expected in the near future. Athlete Maya Chan, who was discovered at a previous luge tryout in Westmont, will be here on August 17th. So pencil that date in. Always cool, and anybody can try it. It's not that scary. It's fun, so think about it. And then volunteering, the village recently published a new release regarding community participation and volunteering. Please check this news release on the village website for more information. And next, kind of exciting to see down in West Quincy, our new crosswalk. The village is about to complete a mid-block pedestrian crosswalk on West Quincy between Cass and Lincoln. And I know a lot of folks have asked about one, so it's finally happened. I saw it today. It looks great. Pedestrians and motorists are asked to be safe and patient while people use the crosswalk to get to the businesses on West Quincy. So again, an awesome addition to the downtown. So we appreciate our Public Works efforts on that. Thank you. And that is all I have. So I will go over to Clerk Simsky, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Just some dates that the offices are closed. Village offices will be closed to the public on Thursday, June 19th, and Friday, July 4th. That's all I have.
Thank you. All right. Trustee Pirelli.
Hello. Tonight was the Public Works update meeting. Recap is, we talked about current projects, which is the Quincy Street project, Phase 2. The MFT starts with the week of June 22nd, and the water tower construction starts the week of June 30th. And the next meeting date is September 18th in this room at 4:30.
Anything else?
Sorry. And then there was a tree planting incentive program. Public Works offered reimbursements up to $5.99 for newly planted trees. Please see the website for more details. And then our water quality report, the village annual water quality report has been published on the village website, so go check that out. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, Trustee Matt Scales.
Thank you, Mayor. Community Development Committee, 2025 meeting dates are July 24th and October 16th. The Planning and Zoning Commission met last night and approved both a subdivision and 2 site plans that will be brought to the next board meeting. There was also continued discussion of the proposed comprehensive zoning ordinance update. While they did make some progress, the meeting demonstrated both the complexity of the material and active debate on how best to craft those new regulations. The meeting was continued and will resume on June 25th of this year at 6 PM.
Thank you, sir. I do want to add one item for Public Works I thought was worthy to mention. We found out we were awarded a $400,000 grant for sidewalks. So it was 2 grants, I think, if I remember right, but an awesome win for the village, and thank you to our staff for doing that. Trustee Joanna Guzzo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our next Fire Public Safety Committee meeting will be August 7th here, Village Hall at 4:30. And the new fire facility update. The village will soon publish a new webpage which will be dedicated to providing information regarding progress on the new fire facility. The webpage will have links to the new facility presentation from last month. As the village moves forward on this project, information and updates will be added to this new webpage. And then finally, I just want to remind everybody, when you hear sirens and you see lights, please move over to the right. I saw a couple times where I believe at one time it was a squad car, and then it was also the ambulance with the fire truck behind it, and no one seems to want to give them the right of way. Please be mindful of that. They may be going to someone you know's house or business, but please be mindful with that. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Trustee Barker.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of things. The Environmental Improvement Committee met this month, and we had a guest speaker talking to us about community solar. We also had, it was interesting, we had folks from Downers Grove sitting in on our meeting so that they could learn about that particular issue as well. So it was nice to see we're able to help another community with that event. And then our EIC members, a couple of them are downtown tonight with Flood Brothers mascot, and they're talking about various EIC initiatives with the folks at the street fair. So we're going to do that a couple of times a year. And then that Environmental Improvement Committee is about education, and we have more and more educational opportunities with guest speakers and people on the street, so it's important to point that out. And then lastly, I'm very excited and honored to announce the village has a new art event. It'll be our first annual Vision and Vibe Fest, and this village is working on the development and coordination of a new art fair event, which has been scheduled for September 13th and 14th at Veterans Memorial Park. And we've met over there. It'll be a great venue for this, and we're getting a lot of cooperation from the Park District, and staff is working hard on this. There's a press release that's been published, and then if you have any specific questions, our project coordinator is Jenny Babiar. We know Jenny here, but reach out to her at jbabiar@westmont.il.gov for questions regarding the art fair. And there's a number of us working to make this a reality for Westmont, so it's going to be a great event. I hope to see everybody there. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Little. How could I do that?
Thank you, Mayor.
And you got some exciting news to share.
I do.
All right.
Our next Administration Finance Committee meeting will be July the 10th, 4:30, right here in Village Hall. Everybody's invited to attend. Our Westmont Cruising Nights started a week ago. This is already our second one tonight. Every Thursday night in downtown Westmont on Cass Avenue from 5 to 9 is coordinated and hosted by the Westmont Special Events, the non-for-profit organization. The Taste of Westmont will be July 10th through the 13th, and information has already been posted on the Westmont Special Events website, westmontevents.com. We do need volunteers. Westmont Cruising Nights and the Taste of Westmont are 2 of Westmont's biggest events and are in need of volunteers to help out with each of these events. Please contact Westmont Special Events to learn about how you can help out, visiting the website westmontevents.com, or even call the office at 630-829-9378. Our garbage and yard waste stickers update, we still have some of those available, so you can come, all citizens can come to the Village Hall and exchange last year's stickers for this current year's stickers. This opportunity will continue only through July 18th. More information is on the village website. And then last, but certainly not least, starting next week, we're going to have a new table at Cruising Nights, and it's going to be titled Talk with Your Village. Various elected officials and village divisions will be available to talk to everybody each week. So come on out and talk to us. We want to hear. We've got 2 ears, each one of us, so you can bend them all you want. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, trustee Plowman.
Thank you, Mayor. The next Police Public Safety Committee meeting is scheduled for June 26th. Squad Car Night, come out to Westmont Cruising Nights on June 19th for the annual Squad Car Night. The Lights and Sirens Parade begins at 9 p.m. Squad cars will be parking on Cass north of Norfolk all the way to Naperville Road. There was some concern about some police presence, heavy around Cass and Richmond over the past week, and they were actually part of the Cass and Richmond traffic safety results. Over 200 safety violations were observed during the police department safety campaign at Cass and Richmond. The goal of the program was to educate drivers regarding common safety violations and the importance to follow the rules of the road. It's pretty heavy traffic around there, so that's quite important. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. And before we get moving, long as the board's okay with it, I think we might have a open forum resident that wants to say something regarding fire. Is that accurate? Maybe, maybe not? No?
For when the item comes up.
Oh, okay, we don't want to go back to it. Well, we'll get to it then. All right, thank you, Manager Gunther, on his first night as village manager at a board meeting. So everybody take a look at that on the corner. He's doing a good job so far. The test is right here, though, right now, because it's time for his big role in the consent agenda. I know he's been practicing this, so let's be patient for him. Is there anybody that would like to remove anything from the consent agenda? Hearing none. Manager Gunther, would you please read through your first and hopefully of many consent agendas?
Appreciate that. All right, on tonight's consent agenda, village board minutes, board to consider approving the minutes of the village board meeting held May 29th, 2025. Finance ordinance number 12 in the amount of $1,813,353.24. I practiced that several times. There are no separate purchase orders, so the aforementioned total amount of $1,813,353.24 makes the balance of the purchase orders plus finance ordinance. Item E, decrease in available Class 23 and Class 8 liquor licenses. Board to consider an ordinance decreasing the available number of Class 23 and Class 8 local video gaming liquor licenses by 1 due to the closure of Anna's Cafe Place LLC doing business as Anna's Cafe at 15 West Ogden Avenue in Westmont. Item F, community events. This is the Independence Day celebration 2025. Board to consider an ordinance approving the following requests from the Westmont Park District regarding the annual 4th of July celebration at Ty Warner Park, including the 4th of July special event traffic plan, amplified sound permit, tent permit, fee waiver, temporary liquor license fee waiver. There is one fee waiver that is not listed. That's the fireworks fee waiver that will be on the agenda on June 29th. Moving to item G, there are 5 total hotel motel grant requests from the Westmont Park District, including Concerts in the Park, Haunted Forest, Holidays Request, Performing Arts Musical, and the American Legion Memorial Day Parade Float. That concludes the consent agenda.
Very efficient, thank you, sir. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve, Little?
Second, Scales.
Any questions, comments? Roll call, please. Oh, I'm sorry, one question. Are you raising your hand, Gina?
Oh, no.
Okay, she was stretching.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to new business. Class 25 liquor license amendments. Board to consider an ordinance approving amendments to Chapter 10, Article 2, Section 1036 of the Westmont Code of Ordinances regarding Class 25 liquor license, and I believe we have Deputy Liquor Commissioner Mulhern here.
Evening, Mayor Nero and Village Board. The village has been approached by an existing business which does indoor sports, and they would like to have alcohol. And looking at with the village attorney, we thought long and hard on this. The nanatorium is already, we created a liquor license for the nanatorium many years ago. They have chosen not to use it, but the license is there. So we felt it was best, the description of the indoor sports facility kind of almost mirrors the nanatorium, so we amended the existing ordinance to include the sports arena. It's for all liquors. They are in the future thinking of maybe having weddings there. Right now, they aren't, but it's for vendors or for visitors to be able to watch the sports games that are going on. They do have sports teams, visiting teams that come to play there. That's usually more in the winter time. If you notice, there is a component where there's a daycare center, and they've told us that they will not be selling any alcohol when the daycare is open. And they have a business in Naperville, so they're going to be fashioning this after Naperville. One thing I do want to point out, though, however, that the creation of this license, amending this license, is not just for this business, it's for any sports type, indoor sports arena in the future that may come into the village.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve, Barker.
Second, Guzzo.
Any questions, comments?
Can I ask some questions?
Yeah, fire
Or-
away.
So, because it's that yard plate or something, or which, I don't know, I
Yes,
guess.
good assumption.
Okay. Is it going to be during all sports events or just adult sports events, children's? I mean,
They're adult sports events. I think we have it in there in the ordinance that if there's a child event, I think it has to be for adult.
Oh, okay, okay.
Like what? No, I take that
So
back.
when this was originally created for the natatorium, they could not have, spectators could not have alcohol if it was, the participants in the sporting event were, I think, underage. But for this request, as I understand it, which was requested by Westmont Yard, they did want to have alcohol sales for spectators during all sporting events, regardless of the age of the children participating. And then in addition, they have like men's leagues, and once their games conclude, they want to be able to grab a beer after their games. So that's drafted into this ordinance.
But if you look down there, you'll see a lot of young children businesses, daycare centers. Daycare centers usually close up and are gone by 6:30. Their events do not start until 7 o'clock, so they've told us they will not sell any alcohol until after the daycare centers have closed. Additionally, the daycare centers are all up on the second floor, and all the games and the alcohol and everything will be sold on the first floor. I said, okay, so I want to go up to the second floor, how do I get there? I have to know a passcode and to get to the elevator to get there. So they're taking
Yeah.
very
And
good.
like, to make sure it's like, because obviously if it's at all sports events, are they gonna like be able to know, like, to make sure minors aren't getting liquor? Like, are they gonna have like bans or something to?
It's their responsibility. It's the person who sells the alcohol or delivers the alcohol. It's that person's responsibility to make sure that the person they're giving it to is 21 years or older. There's a thing called Bassett Beverage Alcohol Sellers and Servers Training. They have to take that course, and they're required, not only by village ordinance, but by state law. And then also our police department goes through several times a year and goes around and checks all the businesses to make sure everything is compliant. So there's checks and balances involved in it, but it boils down to if I were to sell you a glass of beer, I'm the one that's responsible. If you're at 19 and I sell it to you, I'm the one that's
Yeah.
responsible. Then what we also do too is that then we bring the owner of the business, which would be Westmont Yard, before either the either deputy mayor or the mayor in a hearing, and we bring all the evidence there, and then we can find the license that way as well.
And then also one more question, and I promise. Will they be able to bring the liquor outside of the building? Okay.
I had checked about that, and they said they have no outdoor activities. There is a door right near where the beer will be sold, and they've told me, no, the alcohol has to stay, and we're requiring the alcohol has to stay inside.
Yeah, that's a condition of the ordinance, that it has to be consumed inside in a designated area. They've submitted whether it's Westmont Yard or another similar facility, has to submit a floor plan showing where the alcohol will be sold and consumed, and it has to be limited to that area. The village does do occasional spot checks. There is a condition in there, to Tom's point, that if the daycare is operational, alcohol sales cannot occur. And Tom, is it true that Westmont Yard does have alcohol sales at their Naperville
Yes.
facility, which is identical to this? This isn't granting a liquor license tonight. This just creates, if you approve it, the class of licenses. If Westmont Yard or a similar facility were to apply for a liquor license, it would come back before you to increase the number of available Class 25 licenses by one for the applicant's use. And if the license is then approved by the mayor as local liquor commissioner, he can impose any reasonable conditions in addition to what's in the ordinance that he thinks are justified.
And they have, the owner of Westmont Yard has already applied for a license, so I will not process that until next week. But they've been waiting for this, but as John said, this has to be done, this modification has to occur before they can even apply. Right now, there's no license for them to apply for.
And you don't have to approve it if you don't think it's justified.
Right, when they come, probably a month or 2 months from now, they will come back in front of you, and the board has the option to say yes or no, and then the liquor commissioner, the mayor, has the final say, so he can independently can say yes or no of however he chooses.
I will point out currently, there is a liquor license classification that allows golf courses to sell alcohol, and of course, children play golf too. There's also a liquor license that allow health clubs that have racket sports to sell alcohol within the health club. Of course, children are oftentimes present there as well, same with restaurants.
Okay.
Fair enough. Thank you. Any other questions? Hearing none. Roll call.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Motion passes. Moving on to B, intergovernmental agreement with South Westmont Fire Protection District. Board to consider an ordinance approving an IGA with the South Westmont Fire Protection District for fire protection and ambulance services. Fire Chief Riley.
Thank you, Mayor. The village has provided fire protection services and ambulance services to the properties located in the South Fire District in previous years pursuant to an IGA. The new IGA continues these series for a one-year period from June 1st of 2025 to May 31st of 2026. A little background, the IGA requires South Westmont Fire Protection District to pay the village $20,000 from its tax levy revenues. This constitutes a $5,000 decrease over the last year's fees due to loss of taxable properties. As you're aware, under Manager May's orders, we've annexed more properties down there, so they're receiving less tax revenue, which the village is already getting by those taxable properties. So just an update for the board, we only had 8 calls of service in that area last year, and up to date as far as this year of January, we've had 0. So I feel that 20,000 is a very fair number to ask for the South District.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve, Little?
Second, Plowman.
Any questions or comments? All right, thank you, Chief. Roll call, please.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Moving on, C, professional services agreement, Fire Department Headquarters. Board to consider an ordinance approving a professional services agreement with 845 Design Group PC for the Fire Department Headquarters Building Architectural Design in the amount not to exceed $952,000, $952.20, just to get that right. And I believe Director Reese is going to tackle this for us.
So at the September 5th, 2024 Village Board meeting, the board authorized a professional services agreement with 845 Design Group for a facility evaluation of the fire department headquarters building, which included existing building condition evaluation, space needs analysis, alternatives analysis for major renovation, addition, or construction of a new building. And then upon completion of this evaluation and alternatives analysis, the alternatives were presented to the village board as well as the public at an open house held on May 13th. There was follow-up discussion on May 15th at the Fire Public Safety Committee, and at that time it was decided to move forward with a professional services agreement with 845 Design Group for schematic design, design development, construction document preparation, procurement, and construction phase services. So just kind of reiterate a little part of the discussion from the other meeting. We can off-ramp from this process anytime we want. We would just have to pay them for the work that they did up until that point. So any questions on this?
I just point out that the agreement that was in your agenda packet was the original agreement submitted by 845 Design Group. I've since made modifications to that agreement that were recently finished, transmitted to staff to pass along to the architect for their review. So negotiations are still outstanding on non-price items and items not of particular significance, such as overall timing, completion of the project, cost estimates, things like that. It's more legalese and other matters. So the ordinance approving this, if it's approved, states that the approval allows the village manager, the fire chief, and myself to finalize the edits to the agreement. And once finalized, the mayor can sign it without further approval of the board. Certainly, if something comes up of significance during our negotiations, we will bring it back to you.
Thank you. Trustee Barker?
So just a couple of things. So the fee is a big number, right? But it's not outrageous by any means compared to what they typically charge. I went through an experience where, and I'm considering, so if we go forward with this or something happens and we don't go forward with it, when it's all said and done and we've spent some of this money, what do we own, right? And so.
Depend how far we got in the process. So if we did get to the point where we had finished documents, we would own those finished documents.
Well, actually, we just
So-
have a license for those documents.
Oh, to use them?
So,
Okay.
and we get to retain a copy of them, and we can use them at our own risk at that point. But if we've terminated the services of the architect, they're basically washing their
Yep.
hands of it.
If they're not completed, we wouldn't be able to do anything with them.
So you might ask right before we sign something that if we needed to buy that, if we needed to buy that material because it's valuable, otherwise you're starting back at zero.
We do get to retain copies and use them. So for example, if we got partway through, had preliminary drawings, terminated the architect, started up the project years from now with another architect, we could provide the materials we have to another architect to at least look at,
Yeah.
but they'd have to prepare their own
It
drawings.
doesn't save you any money because no professional's going to seal documents that weren't prepared under their direction.
So that, it's electronic. If it's a Revit file, what's the ballpark on that? Have an idea what it is to buy a Revit file, right?
Depends how complex it is.
Well, right.
They've gotten a lot better about it now because they're using like drones to scan all these buildings.
Right, well, there's a lot of great programs,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's something that we bought and we want to be able to use. We don't want to have to redo it, is my concern. Not that it would go south, but just as a protection.
Well, there could be a
It
lot of
could.
reasons we might stop the project.
Right,
So,
right. So just to ask about that, right? How do we obtain what we paid for, right?
Does it take us all the way through design drawings, design and construction drawings?
Yes.
It takes us through end of construction, punch list items, and closing out the project.
Okay.
So all the way through, that's,
There are two categories of additional services that aren't covered in the basic services with the price that's listed. So based on certain change orders or changes in the design or scope of the project, et cetera, the cost listed for basic services could increase.
And that total construction cost was approximate, or estimated to be like 27, so it's about 3%-ish. Just curious.
Okay, hearing no other comments or questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve, Little?
Second, Guzzo.
Any other comments, questions? Assistant Manager Parker, anything on this?
I was gonna ask, is this the one that the public?
Oh, was this the one, do we have anybody from the public that wanted to speak to this? Yes, come on up. Sorry about that.
I missed these presentations last month, just a lot of family things.
Can you please state your name, please?
My name's Laurel Rugen. I live at 513 North Grant, so I'm
Thank
already
you.
behind the fire station and all that. And to see about updating the fire station, I'm assuming they're meaning that one, the one on North Cass?
No, this is the south headquarters.
Oh, the south
Yep.
one. It's like I lived down on that side of town from 85 to 15, so I believe that's, the fire station was built during that period. Why would you require to build a brand-new whole building? I mean, this is kind of like, well, instead of taking care of Miller and Manning schools, let's rip them down and build a new building. And it's like, I don't understand why you would need a whole new thing instead of additions to it.
Well, it's a very valuable question.
It's
No,
a
go
lot
ahead.
of money, it's almost $1 million, you know, so I'm just curious. It's kind of like White Sox, you know, Comiskey Park, then they get another park, now they want another park.
Well,
And this is what popped into my head.
Way better than White Sox, but that's all right.
Well, yeah, thank you. So
Well,
I'm not understanding why you would want to spend that much money on something that really isn't that old.
sure.
I mean, instead of additions and such.
Well, it's a very valid question. I know we've hosted a couple community events to walk through all the issues that are in that current station. The biggest thing, and I'll give you my personal opinion, and maybe our fire chief and public works director could help, but the call volume, that property was built, that fire station was built, what was the year?
1991.
91. It was built for about a fifth of the number of calls that we currently have. So this really is just future planning with making sure our first responders have the right facilities, the ability to do their job as best as they can. And we're just getting busier and busier each year, which really drove this conversation. And then you look at the building, we did tours of it, it's embarrassing to have firefighters have to live in that type of facility. That's just my personal take, that's what kind of got me on it, but I would love to have maybe professionals if they want to share any comments extra, but that's probably, not to put you on the spot, but that's the main items, I think, when maybe other trustees can share their points on it too, but.
Okay,
But
yeah.
there was, the village did look at improving the existing building.
That was one of the
adding
options,
on
yep.
What that cost would be and compared it to the cost of a new building, right?
So we did, we vetted multiple options, the attorney's right, we started with renovation and looked at different options for rebuild. and
Right.
It was a unanimous consensus that this option was the best, not just for now, but for the future.
Mayor, is the presentation still available?
It should, I'm sure it is, it's probably on our website too, chief. If, you know what, Deb, maybe
Okay.
if you want, we can, if you leave your contact information, we could shoot you a link to it so you can see it,
Okay.
or just go to the website. We'd be
Gotcha.
happy to get it, but lots of good information. We listened to the community. A lot of folks came out and sent in, kind of their feelings on it, and, this is life safety. It's really what it comes down to
Gotcha.
me, and I think the rest of the team here, so.
And knowing that land is at a premium,
Yeah.
where they have any idea where they would consider constructing a new?
Same site it's at now.
The same site?
So, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So that involves some temporary setup that the fire chief's all over to
Gotcha.
make sure that coverage is the same and life safety isn't compromised at all throughout the process.
Okay, yeah, I was curious about that, so.
No,
since I-
it's a good concern, it is. I mean, we all thought about it, it's a big ticket item. I mean, geez, almost $1 million just
Yeah,
to design
exactly.
it. It raises questions, so it's okay.
Exactly. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, well, we made it easy on the fire chief, though. I don't know about that. But if you have any other questions, though, feel free to ask him or Director Reese, too. We're happy to help you. All right, thanks for coming. All right, now roll call, please.
Okay. Is that, is that trustee Little who?
Yes.
Okay, trustee Little. Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli.
Yes.
Trustee Plowman.
Yes.
And trustee Scales.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to D, final two here. Amendments to section 54-101 penalties. Board to consider an ordinance approving amendments to chapter 54, article 4, section 54-101 of the Westmont Code of Ordinances regarding penalties for police-issued citations. And I will pass this over to Attorney Zemanek.
Thank you, Mayor. This is really a housekeeping matter. At the last meeting, the village approved a system for the administrative adjudication of parking violations, and A fine schedule was built into that ordinance based on the requirements and limitations of state statute. So now going back, we have this section, section 54-101, which also has fines listed for parking violations and other non-parking violations. And we wanted to make sure the two ordinances were consistent as far as parking violations go. So we cleaned that up, make sure they're consistent, and made a few miscellaneous word cleanups as we went along. But the main thing was just making sure the parking fines are consistent with what we can do through adjudication.
Thank you, sir. I have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Little?
Second, Scales.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Motion passes. Grand finale, Jim Gunther, the manager. We made it almost. All right, amendment to fine. That's true. Amendment to fine schedule for parking violations. Board to consider an amendment to section 78-519 of chapter 78, article 12, division 3 of the Westmont Code of Ordinances regarding the fine structure for parking violations. Back to Attorney Zemanek, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, related to the last discussion, this deals with that system for adjudication of parking tickets that was passed at the last ordinance. It had a schedule of fines. One item that I did not put in the schedule of fines that the police department pointed out to me was when there's a 6 or subsequent parking violation by the same vehicle, the fine schedule, the fines are higher. And so this, we just added that higher fine for those types of violations to the fine schedule. It's still within the statutory maximum amounts of fines.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve Guzzo.
Second, Little?
Any questions or comments? All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Motion passes. Any miscellaneous? And hearing none, we do not have an executive session. Might have our first one with the new board next board meeting, though, so stay tuned on that. Well, I think we're getting close now, Jim. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Little?
Second, Plowman?
Roll call, please.
Okay, Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
All right. Meeting's adjourned. Thanks.